Hi, I'm Amie Clark, co-founder of theseniorlist.com. Did you know that you have a choice when it comes to what age you start taking your Social Security benefits? But you have to be careful because your choice can have real income and tax consequences. Today, I'm talking with Cory Smith, who is a financial advisor with Alegis Financial Partners in Portland, Oregon. Cory has been practicing for 20 years and is the perfect financial expert to help us understand all things Social Security. Welcome, Cory, and thank you so much for joining us. Really just want to break down Social Security today, and we're going to attack this, I think, at a pretty high level, general information that everyone can understand. And maybe in some later videos, we can get more into the nitty gritty about some of this stuff. But today we're going to keep it pretty basic about Social Security and the basics of that. So if you could just, kick us off with, just some general answers to the question of what is Social Security?
Great, I can do that. Thanks, Amy, for having me. I appreciate it. Social Security is basically the old age survivors and disability insurance program that is ran by the Social Security Administration and started in 1935 during the Great Depression, and was basically a program to help seniors have some additional income in retirement. It's been expanded on over the years so that it now covers disability as well as survivors. And Social Security is paid through our taxes. So everybody pays 6.2% of their out of their wages, and their employer matches 6.2%, and that is what gets paid for Social Security benefits up to a max. So in 2021, the max is $142,800. So you'll pay 6.2% on every dollar up to that max. And then, of course, if you're unemployed, you pay both sides as the employee and the employer, and pay the full 12.4%.
Okay, and so you may have already answered this for me. So does everyone receive Social Security, or is it just people who are working or who qualify under disability?
So great question. So not everybody receives it, although right now in the United States, 9 out of 10 people or over the age of 65 are receiving Social Security benefits. So in order to qualify for a benefit, you have to have 40 quarters of income that was subject to Social Security tax. So basically 10 years of, of income. And once you have that 10 years, then you qualify for a benefit. You can also qualify as a family member or a spouse of somebody that has qualified for a benefit as well. So as a survivor or as a spouse, you can qualify as well.
So if a spouse didn't work the full 40 quarters in their lifetime, in their working years, they technically could still qualify to receive benefits under their spouse's whatever they qualify. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, and that's actually something that a lot of people don't realize. You can have a spouse that never worked, that was a stay-at-home, mom or dad, and they still will get a Social Security benefit based on their spouse's record. So a lot of times we meet with people when we're doing planning, and they don't know that the stay-at-home, mom or dad is also entitled to a benefit, as long as there's rules in everything. as long as they've been married for at least 10 years, then they would qualify for a spousal benefit.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for expounding on that. Um, so there's this, these days it seems like it's a pretty clickbaity headline, when is the right time to take Social Security? So I understand there are different options for people to choose when they start taking Social Security. So if you could educate us about that and give us the information we need to know about the different ages.
So yeah, you can take Social Security as early as age 62, and in fact, over 40% of Americans do take it at 62, the earliest that they can. You can wait as long as age 70, and you can take it basically anytime between age 62 and age 70. There really isn't a right or a wrong answer on when you should take it, at least not for everybody. It's specific to you. So some people, it does make sense to take it at 62, but for some people it may make sense to wait until age 70. One thing to keep in mind is that everybody has what's called a full retirement age, and that's based on the year you were born. And so if you were born before 1955, your full retirement age is 66. If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. And if you're born between 1955 and 1960, then your full retirement age is actually 66 and some months. It actually goes up 2 months every year. So if you were born in 1955, your full retirement age is 66 and 2 months, and then 66 and 4 months. But if you take Social Security before your full retirement age, you have to be careful that you don't have too much earned income while you're claiming Social Security, because if you do, then you could end up losing some or all of your Social Security benefit during those years that you have too much earned income. So that's one of the things that people need to be careful about. If they're going to take it at 62 and not retire, they may end up having more earned income than they can and not really getting the benefit. Once you hit your full retirement age, let's say 67, then you can have as much earned income as you want, and it doesn't count against your Social Security.
That's really interesting. I'm willing to bet that's something that most people don't really know about.
They don't, and a lot of people just automatically think, well, I'm going to take it as early as I can because they think that maybe it won't be around or that the government will take it away. But the reality is that may not be the best choice. When you take your Social Security is a one-time decision, and it lasts for the rest of your life. And so it's a very important decision, and one that should be made with as much education as possible to make sure you're making the best decision that you can.
Absolutely. And that's why we're talking about this today, because we do want to make sure that people are as informed as possible. I'm also assuming it's a good idea. I mean, the position that you're in, advising people on their finances, I'm assuming this is exactly the kind of thing that you would want your clients to be talking to you about. And it's what you would probably advise everyone watching, that it's something that they really do, like you said, it's a very serious decision, and it's something that they really do need to be talking, weighing the benefits, but really talking to somebody who is a professional in the financial planning world is, I'm assuming, something that you would advise people to do.
Absolutely. Most people think that they can go to the Social Security Administration and get advice but they can't. The people that you talk to there are not allowed to give advice on when the best time to take Social Security is. And so talking to somebody that can give you advice, can run different scenarios for your specific situation, can kind of play with different numbers and come up with the optimal strategy for you is very important. And that's what we encourage people to do.
And speaking of ages, at what age do you think somebody really needs to be thinking about this? Would it be a year before they turn 62? Would it be 6 months? When does somebody need to really start thinking about this?
Well, definitely, if you're a year or so away from when you think you're going to take it, you should be looking at it. We actually, when we're running a retirement analysis for individuals, we'll actually do a report. They can be in their 40s or 50s, and we'll still do a Social Security report. And at least based on where they're at now and what their goals are, we will come up with an optimal time of when we think they should take their Social Security. Of course, that can change over the years. The nice thing is that there's no decisions that really have to be made about Social Security until you get to 62, because you can't do anything about it until then anyway, any time. But we do think it's important to plan ahead before you just go ahead and take it. Once you take it, you're pretty limited on reversing that. It's a pretty much a done decision. You can change it in the first 12 months, but it's a really important decision.
Yeah, that's really good to know. Talk a little bit about any tax considerations that should be, thought about as part of that decision-making process.
So once again, if you're going to take your Social Security before full retirement age, then we have to figure out if you're still going to have earned income, because that will definitely affect your taxes. The amount for 2021, the amount that you can earn and still have your Social Security is $18,960. That adjusts every year a little bit for inflation. But basically what that means is if you take your Social Security at 62, anything you make over $18,960 is going to reduce your Social Security. So basically for every $2 above that you make, you're going to lose $1 of your Social Security benefit. So that's an important consideration if you're taking it before your full retirement age. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that Social Security benefits can be taxable, and for the majority of the population, they are taxable. And it gets a little bit specific on how they're taxed, but basically the government will look at your total income, and they'll add half of your Social Security into that calculation. So they'll look at half your Social Security. They'll look at any income that you have above that, maybe a pension or any income you're taking from investments. And if it's above a certain dollar amount, $32,000 for a married couple, then 50% of your Social Security benefit is taxable. If that income is above $44,000, then 85% of your Social Security is taxable. So for the majority of people, your Social Security benefits are going to be taxed as income, or at least part of your Social Security benefit will be taxed as income.
That's really interesting. I did not know that at all. And those numbers that you said, especially if somebody has another source of income, like you said, a pension or investment income, that's not very much money before you start getting taxed.
No, it really isn't. Like I said, the vast majority of people will be taxed on either 50% or 85% of their Social Security benefits.
Hmm. Okay, good to know. I thought of a question that we didn't discuss beforehand, so I completely understand if you're unable to answer on the fly here. But I was talking with somebody else about this. Do you know if in a situation where someone who's taking Social Security has debt that is being collected, can that Social Security income be collected by a debt collector? Do you know the answer to that?
You know, I, I don't. It's my understanding that it either can't or it's very, very difficult for a debt collector to garnish Social Security income. Um, I don't want to say it's impossible, but I think it's very, very difficult for them to take your Social Security benefit. Other income, uh, different story, but Social Security is pretty protected when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. So um, thank you for sharing what you know about that. I really appreciate it. That wraps up the questions for me. Is there any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our subscribers about Social Security?
Just that it's a great benefit. It's something that's very important. We think that it'll be around for years and years to come. We don't think that it's going away. There will definitely be changes over the years, but it is something that I think people should educate themselves about and make sure that when the time comes, they're making the most informed decision that they can for themselves and for their family.
That's great to hear you say that you think it's going to be here for a while. That I'm sure gives people some relief. I know that's been a topic of those benefits may or may not be around for a long time. So I'm glad to hear from your perspective that you think they will. Thank you so much, Cory, for joining us and for sharing your knowledge about Social Security. I hope that we convince you to come back for more informative videos, because I think this is really, stuff that people really need to know and really need to have a good understanding of. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Amie. Appreciate the opportunity.